Hi guys, I'm Eric from Rocky Mountain ATV MC.com, and today we're going to talk about UTV trail etiquette. When it comes to UTV trail etiquette, there is a ton of new users out on the trails. And I think some of the reasons why are because it's easy to get into this sport. If you can drive a car, you can pretty much figure out how to drive a UTV. So we've got all these new users out there on the trails. And I mean, I don't blame them at all because it is beautiful. You get to spend time with your friends, your family. I don't think there's any other place I'd rather be than sitting in one of these side-by-sides enjoying a day like today. So with that, there's just some simple tips. And the most important, and the one that's really near and dear to our hearts out here in the West, you know, back east, you guys are on a lot of private ground. You have, you know, the riding parks, things like that. But out here in the West, we're on public land, and we have some rules that we need to follow. And there's a few open areas where you can just ride wherever you want. You don't need to stay on trails, but most of it out here is designated trails only. So today we're down here in Moab, and you have got to stay on your designated trails. If you don't stay on the designated trails, then we end up getting trails shut down. It kind of ruins the experience for all of us. So very important, stay on the trails. And the next thing on that is be a good steward. Okay, so we're out here, there's mixed use. You're gonna run into hikers, you're gonna run into mountain bikers, you're gonna run into motorcycles, you're gonna run into Jeeps, you're gonna run into horses. And so there's some things that you need to know, who gets to ride away, right? And so that's pretty simple. We're the motorized ones, and so all the non-motorized, they have the right of way to you. You know, a lot of times your hikers are gonna pull off the trail and get out of the way, but you just wanna make sure you're just being good people. I mean, we're good to each other. You know, we're not dusting them out. They don't think your machine sounds cool, like of course we do. And so I like to always offer some water. Hey, you guys got enough water? Do you need something to eat? You guys okay? Horses are kind of an interesting one. So I didn't really realize this, but a lot of the horses don't like your helmets. So you come onto a horse, they're coming the other way, get off the trail a little bit so they can pass, shut off your machine, take off your helmet, and be friendly. Sometimes they're not always friendly back, but do what you can. Smile and wave. So, and then, along with being a good steward is we want to be safe, right? So these things are capable of immense speeds. There's not a ton of speed limits out here, and so you need to use your common sense. And there's a couple things we can do to make that pretty safe. One thing is I like to ride with my lights on, even during the day. Sometimes I'll even flip on my LED light if I've got a lot of traffic in the middle of the day, just so people can see me from a distance. A safety flag, that's always a good idea. Even though we're not on sand dunes, it's just a little bit more clearance that someone might be able to see you coming, and we're not getting into those head-on situations. One more thing that is great for two-way traffic is hand signals. And so say you're coming up on, you've got a group behind you, there's 4 people in your group, so you come up and the first person in the group come the other way, you hold up 3 fingers. That's saying there is 3 people behind you, okay? And the guy that's in the back of my crew better be letting that group know that he is the last one. So there's no more behind him, and they can resume their normal speed or whatever they're doing. So those are very important tips. All right, and the last thing is basically the leave no trace, right? Again, back to being good stewards. So we want to make sure that we're not leaving trash, or we're not tossing our beer cans out. When we stop, we make sure we're stopping on firm ground, or we're not pulling off somewhere, making a bunch of tracks, tearing things up. We really do. We really want to be good stewards. Another thing too is tearing up the trail. There's some trails that are more appropriate for playing in the mud a little bit, and there's other trails that you're going through areas that's very sensitive. So you just have to judge the area that you're in and just be aware. That's really the tips to trail etiquette, is being aware. All right, that does it for trail etiquette. Now, if you are one of those new UTV drivers that I was talking about, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. Subscribe. There are a ton of videos on there. I mean, there's machine builds, there's where to ride, there's how to drive, there's anything you need on our channel that relates to UTVs. So make sure and check it out, and we'll see you out there on the trails.